everyone. Welcome to this fine webinar day that we will be using to talk about admin rights. So let me start by sharing my screen. Let me select which screen to share. Okay, you guys should be seeing my screen about now. And we have Sven saying hello. Thank you, Sven. Hi there, welcome. So guys, it seems that recently, since I changed the registration process a bit and put the registration page on our website, we have a lot of bots signing up for the webinars. So you know what I want you to do is just drop any type of note in the questions box. And it's also very important that you find the questions box, and here's why. We will need you to interact with us for a few things. I cannot spoil the surprise yet, but we need you to interact with us for a few things so that the session can go very nicely as we planned it. Jens is saying hi. The questions box is working. Again, guys, audio, video, let us know. Sometimes it's lagging, sometimes it's not, just to be safe. Soren comes and says hello, hi. Clyde, yes, all working. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, just one more. Rene is saying hello. Hello, Rene. Okay, Anders now. Very good. Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Welcome. By the way, Kevin, I loved that discussion we had on LinkedIn over there on the MSP post. Thank you for that. Okay, Soren. Hi there. Welcome. So I see that you guys are literally pumped up for this one. Everybody's like super talkative, which is ideal for what we're gonna do. Now, without further ado, let's start and let's introduce the speakers for people that don't know us already. And if you joined our webinars, it's very hard not to know the two speakers that you have today, but still we have some names that I do not recognize. So just to be safe, let's see. My name is Andrei. I've been with Heimdal for about almost 6 years now. I'm the cybersecurity community leader. And in all this time, I managed to do around 1,000 or 1,000 plus implementations of Heimdal as a part of a bigger cybersecurity program for customers, partners, and so on. But I actually want to draw your attention to this guy over here because he is a walking legend. And here's why. He has over 35 years in technology and IT. He was one of the few people that tested officially the Windows 3.1 system. So imagine how far his experience goes. He did IT and implementation for BMW Williams, for the World Economic Forum. So that's why we have him here to be the expert, and also he's gonna play the hacker role. So we're gonna have fun. Robertino, would you like to share any words with our audience before we start?
First of all, thank you for these heartwarming words, the legend, the myth. At the end of the day, I'm just simply a techie with a lot of experience, as you can see on the gray beard. It's always a pleasure to be with you on a webinar and to share some knowledge with our customers to discuss with them. So thank you that you're attending this webinar and have a lot of fun, and let's rock and roll.
Perfect. Thank you, Robertino. And we don't have only customers here. We have people that just joined from the web. So that's another angle. So don't make it super Heimdal. Okay, and people are coming and saying, appreciated, Robertino. So yeah, your connection here is a good one. Good. What are we up to today, right? You know, we are usually a bit crazy. We like to have fun. We like to break down very complicated subjects and topics into their small principles so that we can figure them out, right? So today, we're gonna look at some famous data breaches that happened due to admin rights. We're gonna look at the administrative rights versus cybersecurity. Why is this love-hate relationship going on? We're gonna do a bit of a live hacking. So Robertino again will take the role of Mr. Robot and start hacking around our systems. Then we're gonna talk about solutions to avoid the compromise. And for anyone that is new here, we usually talk about solutions in two ways. We talk about vendor agnostic solutions, which you can just take home and apply as best as you can with whatever tools you want. And we also talk about what Heimdal does in regards to this as a solution. Then some people might ask, are we still playing cyber trivia? Yes, we are, and the prizes as usual. We have Heimdal Home Premium licenses, which is next-gen AV, DNS, and patching for your home computer. Some people might say, yeah, but we already won a few in the previous webinars. Gift it to your grandmother, gift it to somebody, or keep it because it doesn't start expiring. So you can use it even next year if you wish. And then we do encourage you to come with questions along the way, even if we have a dedicated Ask Me Anything segment at the end. So people might say, come on, Andrei, let's get to it. Let's stop all this blabbering and all the other things. Okay, so let's actually look into this. And I want you to look at these 10 logos. And I want you to tell me, what do you think these 10 logos have in common? And as you know, I'm not moving the presentation further until I see a few of you just pitching in an idea. What do these 10 logos have in common? Let's see who gets creative. So Jens, accounts got hacked. They've all been hacked. Kevin, thank you. Anders, hacked. Exactly. But not just hacked. Clyde, Sven, thank you guys. It's not just hacked. It was, these hacks have happened due to compromised admin rights. When you look at things, right, let me put a laser pointer and just make sure I can show you guys a few things. So when you look at the Colonial Pipeline, you remember what damage this made. Capital Bank, again, very dangerous. Yahoo, how many accounts have been leaked? This is one of the biggest when it comes to data being compromised. SolarWinds, yeah, we all know what happened with that one. Dropbox, Marriott, Epsilon. However, I want us to zoom in these 4 cases. What do you think these 4 cases have in common? Kevin is asking, where's Kaseya? I didn't add that one. I just chose one of the RMM platforms. So guys, what do these 4 have in common? Okay, they have been hacked. Admin rights were used. But what else? Is there anything else? Clyde says credentials were phished. In the majority of the cases, yeah, you're right. Anybody else? Let's see. The chain. Thank you, Sven. Perfect. Sven, I bow down to you, kind sir. So all of these were supply chain attacks. And here's how. Capital One, this was hacked due to somebody in their supply chain being hacked. So imagine you have your company, everything goes well. One of your collaborators, a vendor, a supplier, a partner, no, it doesn't matter who, has some data about your company and about your operations. And they are hacked, and all of a sudden you get hacked with no warning because they got their hands on data that is very easy to be used then in a hack. UCLA the same. But these 2 right here, these were actually hacked due to compromised admin rights, and they were used to push other attacks. So in these situations, these other situations can happen. So that's why it's super, super important to pay attention to the recommendations that we will have today after we do all the exercises, because you never know what collaborator of yours gets hacked and how easy it is for that to happen. And out of the blue, you get the situation of SolarWinds Orion, which was a very, very dangerous scenario. Now, let's move forward because we have a lot of things today, and we will start with the first cyber trivia. Based on your imagination, what percentage of cyber attacks would have not happened if admin rights could have not been compromised in the first place? Let's see. And this is the moment where I want you to be active in the questions box. And Rene comes with 25, Kevin 10%, Jens 40%. Let's see, a few more. Sven 65, Soren 20, Jarvis 60, Clyde 80. Now, I'll stop this one and move forward. This is a trick question. because nobody in the world, not even quantum computers, can analyze this. Because if you think about it, by the way, Sven is actually Gyula. Hi, Gyula. You just registered with a different name. I get it. You're incognito today. So guys, it's actually impossible to say by default how many hacks would have not happened if admin rights would have not been compromised. The scenario is that a hack can still happen. Imagine WannaCry. It didn't need any admin rights. Imagine other hacks that you know. They don't all need admin rights. If there's a vulnerability that can do remote code execution with system authority, that's it, right? But at the same time, if you think about admin rights in general, and let me actually move to this next segment of our talk. If you think about admin rights in general, right? Let's think about it. We have, this is how an attack happens based on MITR, right? We have reconnaissance, they gather data. We have resource development, they put up their exploits and they make the phishing emails and the social engineering, all of that thing. Then we have initial access. This is where they try to come in the company and usually succeed in the network and on the assets, so that then they can start execution, persistence, and then it comes to privilege escalation. Now, if privilege escalation happens, usually defense evasion can easily happen, and then lateral movement plus accessing other credentials, right? But if these three do not happen, the ones with red, I can guarantee that the scale of their attack that they're gonna launch on you will not be as big as if they actually manage to do this with privilege escalation. From the moment they do privilege escalation, and we'll see what happens because we have some lists down the line with some things that they do. So again, everybody that pitched in on this question earlier is a winner, right? And now I think about the other people that wanted to say something but they didn't. You'll still have the opportunity to win in the next few questions. I also want to draw your attention to this part, initial access, right? In the day, initial access, somebody needed to hack you or to try to phish you and so on and so forth. But do you know what happens today? Cybercrime is a big industry. It's a self-sustaining industry. So look at this on the screen right now, right? Let's look at this. Somebody is selling access to an electric power company, price $3,200, right? German hospitals and Saudi Arabia, 1 billion revenue, $3,500, right? Then we have insurance Thailand, $1,000 or $1,000, depending how we want to say this. Then we have access to BankSphere USA, the regular user, 3.2 billion revenue, $6,500, right? So as you guessed it, prices vary, but these are posts from the dark web. Let me show you another example. UK company, 15,000 employees, they're giving rights of the user not working anymore in the company. Computer opens, it's in the domain, command prompt opens. And we will see Robertino using this situation right here. Rights of the basic user with command prompt opening. And we'll see what Robertino can do with that. Next, another example. Telecommunications company in Mauritius, admin rights, domain admin rights are being sold, right? AV detected and also ability to disable it. And this, if you want to buy it on the spot, $5,000. Imagine that ransomware gangs have the money, right? So it's a no-brainer for them to invest further in future access. And the last one I will show you, and this might actually scare a few of you. Yeah, Kevin, Symantec, lol, I know. A company that has 15, where was it? 1.3 million subscribers is securing themselves just with Symantec AV. I don't want to say anything bad about Symantec, but just having that, when you have 1.3 million subscribers, that's dangerous. But let's look at this one. This is from 2 weeks ago. I posted it on social media, if you guys followed, on Tech Tribe, if you guys are on Tech Tribe. So These guys are selling 3,000 accounts of Fortinet SSL VPN, the good one, right? That when they get to the destination using the VPN accounts, they're either domain admin or local admin. And they're selling 3,000 of these accesses, not one, not two, not three, 3,000. And the price to buy it upfront is $100,000. Imagine how many ransomware extortions can happen if one of the ransomware families bought this package with $100,000. They get millions or even billions they can get out of this. By the way, if anybody is using this, make sure you have multi-factor authentication and make sure you change your password, which was also the recommendation we did online when we found this. So guys, it's even more dangerous in today's world to work with admin and not securing it in the proper way. This is what can happen, right? Look at it. Hackers are selling access to VPN, and you think you're using VPN and that everything is okay, but you never know what can happen. So yeah, that's why we're tackling this topic today. Good. Next question for the audience. What is the delta? And delta means difference in percentage, plus or minus, of valid account compromises used in cyber attacks on the globe for 2023 versus 2022. And again, these are those valid accounts that we just saw being sold on the dark web, right? What do you think? Is it lower? Is it higher? Like plus 15%, minus 20%? Jarvis, plus 45. Okay, let's see. Anybody else wants to pitch in? Plus 50 by Soren, plus 25 by Jens, no, by Sven, 30, Jens, Clyde, 30, 55, 135. Let's see. Okay, let me see if anybody else responded. And I believe 50 is our winner. Congrats, Soren. It's 71%. And this is coming from the IBM intelligence team, X-Force Threat Intelligence. So basically in 2023 versus 2022, we've seen an increase of 71% in these valid account compromises situations happening. So what can you do? Make sure those valid accounts cannot return and bite you in the behind, right? Now, let's move further and let's see what is this craze about the accounts. Why are they buying these accounts? Why are they buying local admin accounts at a bigger price? Why are they buying domain admin accounts at even a bigger price, right? So let's see what this is. Basic account is what they need initially. Now, this will move as a flow to compromising local admin accounts, and then as a flow, ideally, if they can, to compromise domain admin accounts. But let's see what they can do with these accounts, right? With a basic account, they do reconnaissance. They identify what security tools you have. They identify what users you have logged in on that computer, what services are running on the computer. They identify applications that you have and their versions because they want to see what vulnerabilities they can use against you. They identify network drives, network segmentation, and so on. Then, because some people do not block this, they also exfiltrate data if they can using unattended platforms like online, WeTransfer, Mega Upload, so on and so forth, or file transfer platforms like Dropbox and FTPs and so on. And then they try to do basic persistence. So using all the information that they have, they will try to install plugins in your browser, harvest credential hashes, they will try to hack those passwords. It's limited, but they still can do it. And then let's say they found a hash and now they have compromised local admin account. Let's see what this can do. So now you're no longer talking about basic. You'll do advanced persistence. You'll do advanced reconnaissance. You will do defense evasion. You can do credential access, command and control, and lateral movement. All of these are now possible because they got their hands on local admin account, right? Imagine the danger. All of a sudden, their world has opened. But their purpose is not to use this for the final attack. Their purpose is to get here, domain admin account. Because with domain admin account, you can do anything that you wish. So we were thinking about, Robertino and I, how can we symbolize this? Do you guys remember this particular person? Let's see if the audience recognizes this person. Let's see, anybody? Chuck, exactly, Chuck Norris. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you remember what this guy was doing all the time? Like with all the odds against him, he was literally, there was nothing impossible for this guy. Imagine Chuck Norris being a semi-robot, a digital warrior. Like, this is how you could think of, if you want to do a quick parallel, what a hacker can do with admin rights. There's no stopping them. They can even remain in your environment without you knowing after you are breached for years and years to come. That's how dangerous domain admin accounts can be if fallen in the wrong hands. And now, because you don't want to be just bored by Andrei and his explanations, let's actually see hacking in action. Let's imagine Chuck Norris, the robot Chuck Norris, will be played by Robertino, and Robertino will show us how it is to buy a local account and what you can do with that particular local account. Robertino, passing it to you, my friend. Let me pass the screen sharing. Okay, change presenter to our hacker. Robertino, you're muted by your microphone or something.
That is fine, because I was just. We have a feedback, Andrei.
No, it's okay. I can hear you. I'll just stop my mic.
Okay, perfect. So now you should be able to see my screen, my Mr. Robert. Thumbs up. Okay, the situation. Of course, I'm not Chuck Norris, I'm just Robertino, but I do my best to do his work. So I bought an account, and happy guy I am, I could also remote into the computer because username password were still working. So I am right now on the computer, and let's see, what can I do right now? So first of all, I uploaded some of my tools, and now I'm starting to do some reconnaissance on that one. So usually you won't see it, but for better visibility, of course, I'm running a console. So let's have a try to run it as administrator. Oh, and it works. So that is fine. So theoretically, I would use now the user manager to see what is going on right here as an administrator, but as a hacker, I'm just interested on the local administrators. That's cool. Yeah, obviously I am in this group. That's pretty cool. So I can attempt right now to use some of the basic tools. So and usually an antivirus, etc., is always reacting on Mimikatz, etc. But well, let's see what is happening in this company. So first of all, let me double check. Who am I? I'm on sales 05, true, and I'm the user test. So now let's see maybe which groups we have right here. Okay, local administrators, Hyper-V administrators, everything authenticated. Okay, that is fine. Looks pretty good. So, okay, now maybe, yeah, system tools. So let's go directly to my system tools. And I have hidden them deep into the file system. Usually you won't find them, but of course I downloaded them just onto my desktop in my test files folder. And there in my sys internals. And well, what do you think, Andrei? Should we try just a proc dump, for example? Easy tool, easy to use. And then let's see what is in the memory, so I can dump the LSAS directly to a dump file. Maybe that works. Okay, the access is denied. That's bad. So the system tool or a well-known tool is not working like that. So I'm getting more enthusiastic on testing something different. Let's have a look on Mimikatz. I've seen I'm on a 64-bit operating system. So now let's just start Mimikatz. Okay, here I am. Everybody can download Mimikatz. It's a very common tool. And first of all, to do some nasty stuff, let me see if I have the rights to that. So have a look on my privilege. If I have the debug one, I will be safe. Pretty cool. So I now have the debug rights on this computer, so I can run processes in system context for debugging. That opens me a lot of doors, especially with Mimikatz, because then I can use the token command to elevate Mimikatz. And here we go. I'm now in the system context. That's pretty cool. So now I have, just with a simple account with some checking, I've seen, okay, they protected some processes, that is fine. But at the end of the day, with a tool like Mimikatz, I could elevate myself to the system level. And from here, well, then I'm defining my log file because I want to show you some output. Let's do it like that. I'm creating my log file. .txt. That is fine. And now, LSA dump. Let's see. It is the same. Fine. Dump it. Let's do it again. Okay. Now I should have a dump. Let's see if that is true. And you've seen what I exported already. I exported all the accounts to my test files part, to my Mimikatz. And here I have my hash text. I just make it more visible, zoom in. Then you see I have here my user, the NT hash, etc. Okay, that is not that usable at the moment on the first step, but I have a different tool where I can now try to hack the hash. Of course, as a simple password would be much easier, but of course, Microsoft has its security mechanisms. I have the hashing, etc. But I have already everything I need to penetrate that system. Usually, I would also see the domain accounts that are used on this computer or members of the local administrator group, etc. Here I see I have, for example, root, I have a user called Harold F, etc. So at least I know there are a bunch of users I can reuse on different computers. They were logged in, they were on the endpoint, and now I can maybe then hack them also and then expand my search and my reconnaissance phase to the endpoints. For doing that, I have another tool called Hashcat. Hashcat supports a bunch of hashing algorithms, and it uses a brute force attack usually. So in my and also needs some more hardware power. So that is exactly the step where Andrei mentioned before, where you have to say, okay, now I'm extracting the information and I'm using then services like WeTransfer, Dropbox, etc., to take all this information and put it onto my machine that might have then a CUDA capable graphics adapter and so on. And then I'm doing the hacking work right there. So of course, I want to do it on the local computer. So what I'm doing right now is, after having the hash, I'm just going into my hashcat directory. Then you see hashcat is here. Here I just have the help file, nothing very important. And now let me see. I have always to remember the commands. Let's say #cat. Then we need some parameters minus attack. And then let's go. Oh yeah, sorry. #cat, of course, cannot attack directly this file. Too much data in it. So when I'm going here to my Mimikatz again, you see here I have the hashtag, again the hash text. But you see, too much information, I don't need that. I just need purely right here the clean hash. So it is a little bit scripting or manual work where you see I just have the account and then the corresponding hash to it. And when I'm trying to attack it, unfortunately on this endpoint, you see I don't have the appropriate hardware on it, but usually any gaming PC is capable of right now running my attack, especially with a word list. So my word list is pretty short, only 10 entries, but if you go to the web, you see 18,000 entries, #cat stuff, Danish word lists, script BS, #cat word lists and rules. On GitHub, you see here all the lists and tools. So for me as an attacker, it's just a simple Google search, adding a lot of word lists for my attack. And honestly, yes, people hate complex passwords. So I always have also a password policy in mind that is avoiding simple word list attacks or dictionary attacks. And #cat is capable of combinations of patterns, etc. It's at the end of the day, it's just a matter of time until they are hacking the passwords, and then they're expanding and exactly doing what Andrei described before, from the local account to the local admin, from the local admin by extracting, for example, also with klist, etc. system tool, the sessions on the endpoints, going then to the domain admin. So that was the short hacking session with Robertino, handing over to Andrei.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Robertino even wants to get the password, but you can also use the hash to authenticate versus it. So just those hashes in this particular moment, they can use them to do a pass the hash type of attack. Kevin says the NCSC in the UK recommends 3 random words. Would #cat crack that easily? It depends on the words, and it depends also on some other things like, and we will see the recommendations pretty soon and what would be the things to do to protect yourself. If you have a password that's about 24 characters long and it has characters like space, comma, then uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and some other symbols, it's very difficult to hack. So #cat would need, let's say, a month of computing on a good computer. But how many people have a 24 to 28 character password that is not just basic words? It's like symbol, uppercase, lowercase, space, comma, and stuff like that. I don't know. I think I know 5 people in the world that when asked say, yes, I have a comma or a semicolon or a space in my password. The rest of them have something, 1, 2, 3 question mark or something like that. So 1, 2, 3 question mark is not something that's going to be safe. So if you think about it, right, Robertino showed you how dangerous it is to have local admin accounts. What can happen even if you think that that local admin account has limited rights, like Robertino showed you, it could not access procdump, right? But still, what Robertino could do is open up Mimikatz and move to anti-authority system user. Guess what? Anti-authority system user is the equivalent of a domain admin on the local computer. There's nothing that it cannot do. So you invest, I don't know what amount of money in cybersecurity, and they get anti-authority system user, and guess what? All that investment, zero. It's wiped. So what could we do, right? Let's remove local admin rights and domain admin rights, and we can get on with our lives, right? Let's see, can we do that? Let's see the opinion of the audience. Can you guys remove all the admin rights and then get rid of this particular problem? Let's see, where's my talkative people? No, you cannot. Some programs need admin rights. Thank you, Clyde. Thank you, Anders. Yes, they need admin rights, unfortunately. Let me make a parallel so that we can do a quick metaphor on this. Do you know what this number is? Approximately 227,000. Do you know what this particular number would mean, or would you care to guess? It's puzzling, right? No idea. This is the number of hours that in normal, yeah, Kevin said something funny. I'll tell you guys afterwards. This is the number of hours that, let's say in average, a human being sleeps in their life. This is 32 plus years of your life that you sleep. Now, if you could, you would eliminate this time and use it to whatever you want, right? But you cannot. You need the sleep. And if you make a parallel with admin rights, you would love to take them away, but you cannot, right? And now I want to ask you guys, just as a more informational opinion. And this is a poll that has been just open for everyone. Does your company use local admin rights on computers for day-to-day operation? And the answers are yes, no, only a few select people. I'll just give this one 30 seconds, so 10 more seconds left. I like how the poll is progressing. I can see that. Let's see. Okay, closing the poll and sharing the information with everyone. So 41% use them for regular day-to-day operations, 24% don't use it at all, and 35% only for a select group of people, like your power users and so on. But what about, and Kevin is actually saying for UK people, look at your Cyber Essentials, because if they have admin accounts for day-to-day operations, this is you won't be compliant with Cyber Essentials. Let me ask you this now. Does your company use local or domain admin rights for server operations? Let's see this one, right? So the answers are local only, we do not want to enable lateral movement. Domain only, we don't fear hackers. Neither, we use just-in-time local admin rights. So we have lots of people using local. Now domain is coming up. Some people are using just-in-time admin rights, which I need to congratulate you on. Clyde, domain. Jarvis says we use domain, but we do fear the hackers. That's great one, Jarvis. Let's close this one too, and let me show you what the audience is saying here. So based on the audience, a lot of you guys are using local because then you don't want to enable them to move further to other machines. The second runner-up is 38%, if my eyes work, because I see just a little window over here, domain admin rights. And this is a bit of a problem because this enables Chuck Norris mode, right? And neither, it's 50%, we use just-in-time admin rights. And we're gonna talk about that concept pretty soon. Now, knowing that we cannot remove admin rights, knowing that we need them, but knowing the risks and the dangers that come with it, let's actually go in a bit of a solution mode, right? Let's see, what do we want to secure? So normally we have admin rights on two things, computers and servers, right? Some of the recommendations that we will give you are working for both. Some of them are specific for computers or for servers. Let's see, what do we have? First of all, very important for both of them, it is to use a multi-layer security system, which means you do system hardening, right? Like you saw, Robertino could not open local proc dump with local admin right. That's a system hardening approach, right? He shouldn't been possible to open mimikatz as well, but that's a different problem. We need to talk about your hardening, Robertino, on those VMs. Then blocking unsigned software, very important. Malware and malware components or supportive malware components are unsigned. So blocking that, you already take 90% of the threat out there. You would need to use an EDR, and make sure when you use an EDR, it's also endpoint and server friendly. Some EDRs on servers consume a lot of resources, and then you might have some problems with the server. And also security monitoring, like an IPS, intruder prevention system, or intruder detection system. Then on the opposite scale, something that is not a tool itself, but a combination of practice and tool, principle of least privilege, which means a person, even if it's an admin, should have limited capacity to do things as much as they need to do their job or activity, no more. You need to have a strong password policy, and we were talking about that earlier, how long the password should be, how random it should be, and so on and so forth. And you need a multi-factor authenticator. And I know they're annoying. You need to open your phone, put in the code, and so on and so forth. But guys, believe me, it will save your company or your customer's company, because we also have MSPs in the room with us, right? Then what's next? You need patching and vulnerability management. And here is why. Let me see if I have this website open somewhere. Do you guys see a website right now on the screen? You should see a website. Yeah, yes, no? Anybody in the chat? Yeah, perfect. What is this? This is a vulnerability in Windows that is impacting all of these systems. As you can see the date, it's just a few days ago, right? But guess what happens with this vulnerability? If hackers use this, they will bypass the platform security by default, right? You invested in cybersecurity, but if you don't do the patching, that cybersecurity might become useless. So very important, patching and vulnerability management needs to be the cornerstone of your security program. Then you have application controlling, and here's why. For endpoints, you should block everything that is not pre-approved by you. For servers, you should do the reverse. You should allow things to run because you don't want disruption there, but you should have a well-known and kept up-to-date list of blocking things like mimikatz, proc dump, and all the things that you know. FTPs, why would you need an FTP on your server? You don't need that. You have SSH connections, secure channels, and so on. Then you also need to use something that's called just-in-time admin rights, and you need to have an audit trail. And here's why. Just-in-time admin rights, it means that this user, either endpoint or server, is getting administrator rights for the duration of their process, and then those administrative rights can no longer be used against you, right, by hackers. So imagine Robertino has those hashes, right? Let's say he spends 24 hours to crack those hashes, and then he comes with the password to hack my environment. But then when he uses the password and he thinks he has domain admin rights, that admin right account that has been used in that moment will disappear from my system. So Robertino, happy that we'll have admin rights, surprise, no admin rights actually. That's what just-in-time admin rights means. And audit trail, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? We don't need to open up on that one. Next, we have for servers, administrative access control. So you need to decide who has the ability to use these accesses. And for endpoint, you need to have endpoint privilege management. Then for servers, secured remote access. Make sure nobody can eavesdrop, this is the terminology in the industry, on the session, right? The session needs to be encrypted, kind of like a VPN, right? Just in general concepts. Secured approval flow when we move to the endpoint side. So endpoint wants admin rights, you need to have a security process in place to make sure you validate that is the right user, that malware cannot start on that computer, and so on and so forth. Next, on servers, role-based access control, very important. On endpoints, role-based permissions or restrictions actually, which means if you're a basic user, you should not be able to request admin rights. If you're a power user, in the group of power users, you will be able to request admin rights because you know how to operate with those admin rights. And last but not least, this is general practice. With servers, you should have network segmentation, because then if something happens, it doesn't take down your entire network. If something happens, it takes down just that segment of the network and you can recover from that. But if you have everything down, that's a bit more difficult. Then you go into disaster recovery and it's pretty complex. And for endpoints, you need either virtualization or app sandboxing. And in this situation, you are as protected as possible, but that doesn't exclude the fact that it can still happen. But it will have a very, very difficult job to happen. Now, Kevin has a question. We're going to get to that pretty soon, because since we've shown you a vendor agnostic approach, right? You can go with this information, take a screenshot, go with this information in the market and start applying this for you. Find some tools, find some practices, whatever you wish. But usually we also show you how Heimdal does this security, right? So let's see how we take this person and zap him in the server secured. So with Heimdal, and this is the moment where I tell you who Heimdal is and what we do. Heimdal is a Danish cybersecurity vendor, and we have the world's only XDR platform that has about 10-in-1 or 13-in-1 products, out of which we also have the privilege access management space. And more important, we're going to show you two products out of this space, which are privilege elevation and delegation management. This is securing your admin rights while still using them on the endpoint, on the computer, and also on the other one, which is the server, privilege account and session management. So now I'll pass it back to Robertino to do like a 5, 6, 7 minutes walkthrough of this, and then we're going to take questions. Let me move the presenter to Robertino, and I will mute so that we don't have an echo. We can't hear you, Robertino.
Okay, now can you see my screen with the Heimdal logo in the background?
We see both your screens, the one with Heimdal and the one with the blue screen.
Then just people can see, share screen. Then I have too many screens right here. That one should be doing the magic. No, it should be. Okay, now you should only see one screen. Perfect. You see, right now, after the agnostic approach, now we have implemented Heimdal in our environment. And you see the background changed, of course, makes more sense. And what we were doing, well, we implemented PDM from Heimdal, and we were limiting the local users to really local users. And Heimdal, we have the option on the PDM to revoke local admins. That means when I'm using this tool, for example, and you see, it needs admin rights already. Here, I have to ask for elevation. Then I can send it directly to the, let's say, okay, other text, I need to demonstrate to other users, maybe. Sending that, and now it's depending on the workflow. You've seen I had right here a simple dialogue, just with other and enter your text. In Heimdal, you can ask also for the email address, a phone number to call back to ensure it is the person, etc. So, and then it's depending on the workflow. Either if the information provided is you're requiring is given, you can do it automatically with approval via dashboard, also with a token that you can generate for 60 seconds, and then the user can elevate. So in my case, well, I'm now the hacker again in that kind that I'm testing rather than what I did before. So I tried this application. I cannot see the user, so I cannot manipulate that. Let's see if my command prompt is working. It's asking me because I want to run something as administrator. So yeah, why not? And you see the system elevation is denied. Also a nice feature we have to limit the admin access and to avoid the abuse of PowerShell and command prompt, for example. But let's assume I really need to be admin. So let's go the other way and say, I need a whole session. Sorry, but I need a whole session. I can request my admin privileges. I can say, okay, now I want to be admin, elevated. 30 characters. Now I want to be admin for my audience. Then like that, I hate this administrator. And now you see I'm approved administrator. Well, I have a whole session. Let's again check the command. Now, let's see. It's asking me for a password. Okay, that is fine. And blocked. So even as an administrator, I cannot run this one. Well done, Andrei, on the implementation. Of course, I can now use the user manager, for example, and say run as administrator. It's asking me again for the password.
But let's see what happens if you try to double click with admin on a virus. Can you show us that?
On this one here, for example?
Yep.
Yeah, it's in, you see, it's in a session. It's asking me for the password.
No. Go in test files, Robertino, and me right now. Put some ransomware on your computer. Go in test files, please.
I got you. Good point, my friend. Let's see. WannaCry is a good one. So let's see what is happening
on your desktop, please.
I'm doing it. You see, I'm copying to the desktop. And oh, surprise, the elevation is gone. That is one of the benefits of Heimdal. You can integrate with the other modules. So if WannaCry or any other malware is detected during a session, we have the capability to terminate all the elevated processes. So it's not terminating all processes, but only the elevated processes I started in my admin context. Well, unfortunately, right now also the virus is gone. So that is also something good. And now also my admin session is gone. So I have no chance to execute it again. Now I can, of course, request it again. But now I'm quite safe in that aspect that my admin rights cannot be abused, that cannot catch them, etc. So pretty cool and pretty forward. That is tool number one, and you mentioned Andrei. That is, of course, accessing the endpoint and how to have the local admin account, etc. But how can I limit the access to the endpoint with specific rights? And that is exactly the way where we are looking at PASM. PASM, and here I'm switching to a different machine. You see, I like the MCU. This is my VM Hella. On Hella, I have the portal for PASM. So I installed PASM and I want to log in. And now just explain what PASM is. PASM is a communication or session broker. So when I'm logging in, always two-factor authentication active. Now I just need a second to find the right authenticator for it.
While Robertino is doing this, guys, this is the one where you set the secure connections to the server. You can do just-in-time admin rights, role-based access control. So with servers, it's not as easy as putting an agent over there and just asking admin rights. This needs to be taken with a bit more seriosity, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that is the protection or the thing between your local resources and the users. So what you have here on PASM is I have local accounts, I have also AD accounts, and I have also the option of using Azure accounts in my environment. And the first thing is happening, I'm creating the account. The account has no rights, nothing. Then I'm defining my connections. I will find this here under connections. And you see, I have a SQL server on Frigga, for example, with just-in-time creation of the account. That means a user is connecting to the dashboard, logs in, and then when he is trying to connect to that resource, the account locally in the AD will get generated just in time. And I still have the option to say I want to have an elevated just-in-time account or just maybe a simple account, a user account when he's logging in. And then I'm using as complementary product PDM on request to run, for example, SQL Manager in admin mode. So he has to request that. So I have 2 times the control who can access it. And here as an admin, you see, I have all the connect options. That is fine. But of course, I can use different options on how to connect. You see here with predefined accounts. Here I have the connection to Frigga where I have to provide an additional login that I can hand over, but I don't want to do that. Here on FooBar, I'm connecting to a server in Berlin with a root account. And of course, I can say who can access it, when can he access it. And so, for example, I have a user called Gandalf. Not that secure, but Gandalf at middleearth.com. He's signing in. And then you see here, he has the connection to FooBar assigned, but he has to request it. So he has to say, okay, I want to have the access to that resource till Friday, let's say 12 o'clock. Okay, and give me a good reason. Well, let's say my SQL update to, what is the current version? 5.5, for example. I'm sending that request to the admin. Now the admin can approve it. And if he approves it, then the admin will see it right here on his requests. See, okay, yeah, I'm approving the request. Yes, that's fine. And Gandalf on the other side will see right now that he can connect to that one. And this, one of the special things on PASM is you always can also record the session. So when I'm connecting right now to a remote server set in Germany, in Berlin, in the data center. Berlin is overcrowded at the moment. It looks like that. Please.
Don't worry
Here we
about
go.
it, Robert. I guess the audience has lots of questions. Guys, as you can see, now Gandalf is connected, right? It's as easy as that.
Exactly.
But Robertino, even if I'm changing the presenter to myself, Robertino, as being the master admin over there, he can disconnect the session at any time, reject further access to the session, and he can also watch the full recording of all that Gandalf did in Middle-earth. And I bet a lot of Lord of the Rings fans would love to watch that recording as well. Guys, now, very important before we actually get into the Q&A, you have a survey off the back of this webinar. This is where you tell us if you like the session, if you want to see something different in the future, help us make these sessions better for you. Also, in that survey, you can ask for a meeting with me or by scanning this QR code that you see over here. No strings attached, 30 minutes, ask me anything you want, Heimdal or cybersecurity in general. And you can also book a demo from the webinar survey. And now we get to the questions because I really want to make sure we get a few of the questions before we disconnect. Guys, let us know what are the questions that you have. I'll go back. Kevin had an interesting question over here. Do we have just-in-time admin module for servers? Yes, with PASM, you can disable, you can enable the just-in-time, which again, creates a local admin account or a domain admin account in this situation for the moment of the session, and then it's getting wiped. So there's no risk on having this problem. Jarvis is saying, thank you guys, very interesting. He needs to go. Bye-bye, Jarvis, and be on the lookout for the prize that you won. Now, Soren comes and asks, does Heimdal, does Windows Hello affect how easily local passwords can be hacked? Let's say 24-character passwords, but 6-digit hello PIN. Of course, it would be more difficult. Soren Jensen this time, the other Soren. By the way, guys, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's a Nordic name. I see the O has a line over there. How to control consultant access. That's exactly how you control it with the PASM, with the privilege account and session manager. And your consultant can access a resource only when you want them to access that resource. And you can disconnect the consultant. You can see a full recording of all the things that the consultant does. So that's why I do advise. Oh, you're testing it right now. If not, I wanted you to advise. I was going to advise you to get a demo so that you can see it in full scale and even a proof of concept. Let's see, what are other people asking? Okay, let's see. Okay, nobody? Okay, Kevin. The privilege access management app seems to be not working on the Android. Okay, I know what you're saying. This is the approval app for administrators. The privilege elevation and delegation management can use an approval application on your phone. So it's sometimes with Android, iOS, it might actually have a bit of a hiccup, but do log the ticket and also add me in copy in the ticket, please, Kevin. Daniel, we only have endpoints in the cloud, no servers. Can this be implemented for us? Yes, of course it can. Ask for a demo and I'll walk you through how this can actually help you. But congratulations that you have the endpoints in the cloud. Now you're a bit risky with the cloud security, but still this is a step forward. Congratulations by that, Daniel. Let's see, anybody else? And I believe we are at exactly 1 minute past the time. Guys, don't forget, do the webinar survey. It's very, very important that I know your feedback so that I can make these more valuable for you. Scan this code if you want to talk to me, or just put it in the survey. And yeah, book a demo if you want to see this in full scale. Now, in case there's anything else, you have my contact, reach out to me, and yeah, I'll do my best to help you. Robertino, any final words for our audience?
No. Thank you for the audience. And how they said it in Vegas, Elvis, now it's Andrei and Robertino, will leave the building.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great
nice day and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.